Hello guys, welcome to Hankins Custom Rifles and another episode of Hanks TV. What we're going to talk about today is sizing dies. I've had a few people lately call me and ask me how the sizing die works and what all they need to buy in order to use the sizing die, and really it doesn't take a whole lot of stuff. Most of you guys already have everything you need. If you've ever reloaded a rifle shell, you've got the tool that you need. You need a press. So you've got to have one of these. It's just a reloading press. You can buy a Hornady, you can buy Lee. Lee makes one for like $35 or $40. So if you don't have one, it's very inexpensive to buy just a cheap reloading press. It don't have to be anything special or fancy. RCBS makes a really good one. But anyway, there's a lot of them out there. All you need is a reloader. Doesn't matter what kind you get. We're going to talk about the smooth sizing die today because that is the most popular and the easiest die to size your bullets with. I'm going to almost have to say that 90%, if not more than that, 90% of the people are smooth sizing their bullets. And you see the accuracy that we get. You've seen all my guns that I test fired, them's all been smooth sized bullets. All the guys that come to the Kentucky Challenge, they're all shooting smooth sized bullets except for one guy. I think Don Lockhart shot a full form bullet in the competition back in the spring, and he did finish in the top 4. I can't remember if he was 3rd or 4th, but he was right there somewhere. And this is the die when you get it. It's going to come in a little plastic bag. It's very simple. There's only 4 parts in the bag. It comes with an instruction sheet that you can read if you want to, and it tells you what's in the bag. You know, you get the sizing die body, a compression nut, a bullet push rod, and a brass slug. And then there's just a couple of paragraphs there that tells you how the thing works. But we're going to go over that, and I'm going to show you how it works and in the press and what each piece is for. Put the instructions back in the bag in case the wind picks up. Okay, so when you get your die and you take it out of the bag, you're going to see a couple of pieces. This is the push rod. This is for pushing the bullet through the sizing die. And it's very simple, self-explanatory. Goes in the ram just like that. Okay, so when you pull your handle down, your ram raises up. Your bullet's sitting on top of this push rod, and it's going to push it through the die. Alright, so now we know what that is. There ain't much more we can say about this thing. Let's talk about the die. The die is made out of 2 pieces. It's got a compression nut on the top, and then it's got the main die body. It's fine threads. There's 32 threads per inch on this, so it's super fine adjustment. It'll come to you with a little bit of grease on it, and I recommend that you keep some type of grease on there. Red axle grease or white lithium grease. That's what I'm using, is just white lithium. I do not like anti-seizes because they just get all over everything. You use that silver anti-seize or the copper anti-seize, and it just goes everywhere, and it just makes a mess. And it's not necessary. You don't need anti-seize, just some type of grease. So your die body, your compression nut. If you want to zoom in here, I'll try to hold these in front of me so we can get a good focus. You'll see there's a scribe line on the die body, and on the nut there is some little dimples. These don't mean anything as far as how much you're sizing your bullet. All it is a reference mark so you can tell how much you turned it. Each side of this nut is stamped with a number, so you've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 flats on this nut, and that is also strictly just for a reference, so you know where you're at. You can write it down if you want to. Once you've sized a bullet, you know where you're at, how much more you need to turn it. So when you first put this thing together, you can screw this on by hand until it's tight. I mean, you know, I could crank it down some more, but it stops freely, and that's your starting point. So the next thing you're going to do is just screw this into your reloading press. Hankins actually screwing in a little harder than it should. There's probably some dirt or mud, maybe some rust in there. We've had this thing out at the spring chute. Probably just some mud in there. Okay, that shouldn't have went in that hard, fellas, and I'll figure out what's going on with that at a later date. But yours in a Renew press, it should just screw right in with your fingers. Now that we've got this screwed in the press, let's talk about this little brass slug. This brass slug is made to be pushed through the die if you have over compressed this bushing. So if you're sizing your bullets and you've got your bullets too small, you went too far, you back this nut off, you push a soft bullet through there like a Pittman AccuMax or a BE or something with a really thin jacket, it may not be strong enough to open this body of the bushing back up. So what you would do is you'd loosen this nut a couple of turns and you'd run this brass slug through it, and that's going to expand this bushing back to its original size, so you can basically start over with a brand new die. Now what a lot of people are doing, and it's highly recommended, if you're only going to shoot 2 different types of bullets, buy 2 dies. Set one up for your Parker BE, set the other one up for your Pittman AccuMax, and mark them. That way you're not constantly making changes, because a BE is going to size different than an AccuMax from Pittman bullets. A Hornady XTP or a Flex Tip or whatever bullet you choose to shoot is going to size different from the next bullet. So instead of sitting here and constantly making changes, you could buy another die. It's a large investment, but it's going to save you down the road if you was to mess up the die or wear it out, because it is made out of metal and you can only contract it and expand it so many times before it cracks. It's kind of like bending a coat hanger, you know. If you bend it enough times, it's going to break. And that's what's going to happen with these sizing dies. No matter who makes it, it's only got so many adjustments before you've gone too far. Okay, so now you'll line this thing up so that it's going through your die pretty easy. And I used to tell people all the time that you don't need to size these bullets. And I really don't think you need to size them unless you're going to do a lot of bullet sizing. I know one guy, or actually I know 2 guys, that sized so many bullets, they have shot so many bullets, and they didn't lubricate them because I told them not to, that they actually started gulling up on the inside of this body, and it was putting grooves in the bullet. So we learned that just a little bit of lubricant will stop you from getting any gulling inside of here. Now if you do get it galled up, it's not that big of a deal. You can get a little flex hone and you can go into the body and you can clean the gulling out, but then you've got to start over again with sizing your bullet. So best thing to do is a little bit of this stuff right here. That's Imperial die wax. It's for sizing cases when you're loading bullets.
There we go.
Okay, this is Imperial sizing die wax, and what it's used for is putting on your brass cartridges when you're reloading your rifle ammunition and stuff. So just a little bit of this, and you can buy that several different places. Kyle Pittman sells it on his website. Just put a little bit of that on the bullet, and you can run that bullet through. Now, the very first time you run the bullet through, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to size it at all because you haven't made any adjustments. So to adjust it, you just take a wrench. I've got just a big crescent wrench here, and you turn that until you feel a little bit of pressure on it. And you try it again. And there's still no resistance on that bullet. So we're going to turn it another notch. You can look over here, which you won't be able to see it in the camera, but this is the scribe mark on the die body. And you can see the little dots on the nut. So turn it to the next dot. and let's try it again. Okay, I felt just a little bit of resistance, so I'm going to go to the next dot. And I'm going to tell you guys that this is really just a trial and error. There's no rocket science to it. Go to the next dot because it's still inside enough. And I've done enough of these that I'm going to know when I can start to feel enough resistance on here to try to fit it in the gun barrel. Still not enough. And like I said, these threads on this nut are 32 threads per inch. That's very fine. It's not moving much. So we're going to go another one. Now I'm starting to feel a little resistance, and you can actually start to see where the bullet is changing colors, basically where you have touched the sides of this bushing going through. I'm going to go one more notch before I even try to fit it in the barrel of the gun. I still don't think that's going to be enough, but let's try it out and see. So what you've done, I'm going to come in here close for a second. If you can see that bullet, and you can kind of see the markings around it. They look like little micro scratches, and they probably are, but you're going to get them. So that's what your bullet's going to look like. That's normal. All right. And we're going to take it over here to the gun, and we're going to try to put it in the barrel. And I can tell you that that's not going to fit. It's still got a ways to go. Now these bullets start out about 452 thousandths. This is a Parker BE. It's a 275 grain bullet, and they're going to ship to you at about 252 thousandths. So we're going to have to go another notch. We'll try it again. And then we're going to go back to the gun, and we're going to see if it fits. Now I can feel it starting to want to go in there. I could probably force it in, but I don't want to force it in, because then it could go halfway down the barrel and get stuck. So what we're going to do is we're going to go one more notch. I like my bullet to fit a little bit on the loose side, especially on a brand new clean barrel, because that barrel's going to foul after you shoot it a couple times, and then your loose bullet will now be fitting tight. And another thing I tell guys is when they're setting their gun up, take the breech plug out. That way when you push a bullet in, you can push it all the way through. If you got a breech plug in there, you've got to put gunpowder in, put the bullet down, and then if it don't go down all the way, you can't turn it around and push it back out. You got to pull a plug, you got gunpowder going all over the place. Now that one went in with a little bit of resistance. I had to push it. Now I can't push on the point because that hurts my finger. That's about what you want. But if you push on it like that, you can get it to go down. So let me grab my ramrod, and I'm going to see if I can push this bullet now all the way through this gun barrel. And if we can, we've got a pretty good sized bullet. Now see how that's going down? It's holding the ramrod. It won't just fall in, but I have to push it. But I can push that down with a pinky. That's what you want, guys. That's the perfect fit. Now I want to catch this bullet when it comes out the bottom. I don't want it to hit the gravel and put a dent in it. That's another thing that I'll tell you. If you're on a concrete slab, you're at the rifle range or something, and you drop one of these bullets on the floor, don't try to load it. Run it through your sizing die again, because the jackets on these bullets are so soft that if that bullet hits the concrete on the edge, it'll put a burr or a booger or a dent or whatever you want to call it onto that bullet, and you'll get it halfway down the barrel and it'll lock up on you, and then you got a bullet stuck. Okay, so that's how you set this sizing die up. It's that easy, guys. You just keep tightening this nut until you get a bullet to go down the barrel. Tighten it, check it, tighten it, check it. Once you get them close, and I'm going to say that after I shoot this gun a time or two, I'm probably going to have to come back over here to this nut and tighten it up another half a notch. because that barrel is going to get some fouling in it, and they will start to get tighter as they go down. And I like to keep my barrels dirty. I don't clean them very often. Just get you a good fouled barrel, leave it dirty. When you come back to the range next week or next month, just run a wire brush down at a 45 caliber brass copper brush, push it down, pull it back out, and your bullets will fit in pretty good. You don't have to scrub it and clean it with bore cleaner and start all over, because you're going to have two different size bullets if you do that. You're going to have a bullet that fits your barrel when it's clean. You have bullets that fit your barrel when it's dirty. I just try to leave my barrel dirty all the time, and it saves me a lot of headache when sizing bullets. Okay, so to do the next one, a little bit of your sizing wax. There's a lot of different things you can use. There's castor oil stick wax. That's all there is to it. Put it in the gun. Grab your next bullet, size it. Grab your next bullet, size it. That's pretty much all there is to it. So the only other thing I can tell you is that you might have to run your bullet through twice, because we ran that bullet through several times. Let's see if one pass through will fit this gun right. Okay, so we've got that die set to where one pass through, that's perfect. We're back to the pinky. One pinky pushes it down. That's all you need. With good bullets, good ignition systems, you don't need to hammer a bullet down that don't have to fit real tight. So that's it, guys. That's the Hankins sizing die smooth system. If you need one, you can call me up and get them. They work really, really well. This thing is all stainless steel. It ain't going to rust on you. It'll stay nice and clean. It's polished on the inside. When I make them, I polish them out with one of those flex hones like we were talking earlier. And if for some reason it ever galls up on you, or if you drop it, I did have another guy did the same thing. He dropped a screwdriver or dropped something on the very end and put a little nick in it. Every time he run a bullet through, it had a big gouge in the bullet. Well, he sent it back to me, and I was able to clean it up and fix it and send it back to him without him having to buy another die. So, but that's it. That's the Hankins sizing die. If you got any questions, send me an email. Hankins Rifles at twc.com is my email address. You can visit the website, hankinscustomrifles.com. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up on my videos. And other than that, guys, if you need anything, give me a holler. We'll see you later.